It's a really good question because, and one of the things that I love about construction, and also one of the things that makes it so challenging, is delays rarely come from one thing, but layout is often where the breakdown starts to occur and makes it real, right? Layout is the handoff from coordination to field execution. And if that handoff is late, incomplete, every trade downstream is affected and starts having to absorb that friction in different ways. Layout is the moment that construction becomes real. We spend so much time in the model coordinating upstream, the architects, the owners, the engineering. There's so much time and effort that goes into bringing this napkin sketch or concept to life. And it's real easy to do on paper. It's real easy to make changes on paper, but it gets transcribed to the field and built in the field through layout. So you can do all this time and all this money, but right now we're still laying out things in the field with tape measures with chalk lines from real tolerances from that concrete column that is poured and has 1.5 or 2 inches of tolerance. It's out of plumb. So layout is the baseline there that helps set everybody up for success at the beginning. We partner with teams during that coordination process as a service, right, to figure out, okay, where and what elements of field information are going to be valuable to the team at the point of install. So it's different than just BIM to field. We're not just like printing the model on the ground. And through that process and working and coordinating with teams, we've actually been able to catch clashes ahead of time. It's just an extra set of eyes to make sure that what is planned is actually what's being executed. And the biggest change that I've seen is when we're able to get to site, lay out everything with the slab pour, and then your layout's 100% done. It changes how teams are able to execute their construction plan. They're not having to shift around manpower and materials to get the next part of the slab ready for layout and construction. The whole slab is open and ready for work. There is a lot to unpack there. I think the moment the slab is poured, the project is real. Every trade is trying to get their material staged to set them up and get ready to work. So there is an incentive to move fast, but at the same time, all of the tolerances at that point are baked in, right? You have your real concrete that is poured, and everybody starts moving around on the slab to get where they need to be. The advantages of fitting in full layout during the slab cure window and prior to all the trades getting on site is that layout's done. And it really comes in a couple different forms. It comes in QA/QC, and it comes in kind of like ability to have ultimate control over the site. Your QA/QC, you're able to see in real time, in real space, where everything is. Not everybody has to have an iPad. It is a universally accepted and understood language that is on the ground that everybody can work from. Your ultimate control of site, and this was a direct quote from a senior superintendent that we spoke with, is that you can walk and see everything in the field. It gives you flexibility to move one trade from one area to another and not have to wait on that layout piece to be ready and not have to worry that they need to bring back out the survey or bring back out the manpower to do the layout. You have flexibility to move around the job in an unprecedented way. You know, one thing about layout is that everybody just expects it to get done. Nobody thinks about like how it's done or when it's done well, but it requires manpower to execute because it is that critical handoff from design to field execution. And precision there matters, right? An example was a mixed use public-private partnership that I was on, and there were different wage areas in part of the building. So drywall wanted to focus in one area of the building. They were tight on manpower, couldn't get the crews where we needed them at any given time. And what that ultimately ends up doing is it slows down the follow-on trades too. Your MEP can't put fire dampers where they need to. Sprinkler can't center in a room as well. Your door hardware can't get set. Your electrical drops can't happen for door security or any in-wall drops. So having that layout done ahead of time universally unlocks all of those other trades and frees up that manpower from doing layout to doing actual execution, as well as unlocking productivity on the back end for everybody else. It's interesting, right? And I said it, but layout is the foundation of that translating planning to execution. I had a superintendent that say your work and work your plan, and that really resonated to me. And that's where layout comes into play. A lot of times it gets attributed to coordination or manpower or a design issue. Whereas if we had executed the layout in a detailed and thorough manner, a lot of those field issues that come up much later and become much more expensive in the process get caught before they become an issue way downstream. Layout's just expected to happen. If it's a line item in the schedule, it's a very small line item and it's kind of built there as a buffer and really is the foundation to unlock work. So if you spend diligent time up front coordinating clashes, your clash detection, trade sequencing, your project workflow around the site, that is great. You have to take that plan and bring it to life through execution. And that critical handoff is the layout. I don't think I'm overstating that in the sense of if things aren't laid out properly up front, you have trades that have staged materials and craft partners that have staged materials that are then in the way of even doing more layout somewhere else. So that's a friction and a hurdle that now you have to, when that trade is ready to go do layout, you have to ask somebody else to move their material. And then you have to bring that trade back to the point where they're ready to do the layout. Inertia is a very powerful thing. And one of the biggest things that I've learned through the PM side was when a trade is there and ready to go work, you have to get them able to make sure that they can do the work correctly. Because the hardest thing to do is get them back to remobilize. If all of that layout is done and you can plan your work your plan through that execution, it runs much, much smoother. Layout is something that is just assumed to happen. So if the owner even knows about it, right, they're already a step ahead. But if your team can give you and deliver a fully coordinated layout, that should give you extreme confidence. Layout is the handoff from all of the time, effort, energy, and money that you've spent in coordinating and designing and bringing this building to life to actually getting it there. So if your team can deliver this executed full-scale slab layout that you can then walk QA/QC, you can then bring your facilities team through to start getting reps of how they want to walk around or how they might think about actually planning to run the building. It's a huge way to de-risk your project, truthfully. And I think it really just needs to be thought about probably a lot more than it already is. Yeah, it's a really good question, right? I think the typical model of construction is like to shirk risk. And so a lot of people think about layout as taking on risk when it's actually a way to significantly de-risk your project. If everybody individually owns their coordination and you're building collectively in a coordinated model, and then the owner or the GC or is able to provide that layout as a service based on coordination that the trades and the craft partners have already done, that benefits everybody because then it is one layout from a unified system and you're taking out all of your tolerance issues between columns, finger pointing because someone laid something else out wrong. If you're coordinating and taking that time to do it ahead upstream, laying out is just bringing that to life. And ownership of that is built into the trades, and providing that to your trades is a huge win for everybody.